A little over 20 years ago, Porsche really shocked the world when the company introduced their very first SUV, a body style that really angers a lot of enthusiasts, especially from a car company like Porsche, known for building sports cars. Now, thankfully, it was the best decision they ever made because it essentially gave the company more money to build even better sports cars like the 911 and, of course, the Boxster and Cayman. Now, back in 2019, Porsche introduced an all-new third-generation Cayenne. It really set the bar high from what we expect from a sports SUV, but after 5 years on the market, it's time for Porsche to give the Cayenne a full round of updates, which is why I'm out here in Laguna Beach, California to drive this brand new 2024 Porsche Cayenne. It got some pretty updated styling elements in the front and the rear, an upgraded interior with Taycan-like tech, and for this S model, we also have a return of a V8 engine under the hood. So if you guys are looking for a sports SUV from Porsche, has the company made enough changes to keep the 2024 Cayenne fresh? Stay tuned to find out. Now, before we start talking about the slightly tweaked exterior styling this year, I thought I'd pop the hood and show you guys what's powering this thing. Now, it's a Porsche vehicle, so a lot of you are probably wondering how much horsepower does this thing have? Well, thankfully, if you guys prefer the S version, Porsche has decided to give it a nice power boost for 2024. Now, underneath all that plastic covering, you're going to find a detuned version of the company's corporate 4-liter twin-turbocharged direct-injection V8. That's right, the old 2.9-liter twin-turbo V6 has been replaced. In a world where everybody is downsizing, Porsche has decided to give us back a V8. And this actually makes more horsepower versus the 2023 GTS Cayenne at 468 horsepower and 443 pound-feet of torque. This is an increase of around 34 horsepower and 37 pound-feet of torque. This is, again, more powerful versus the GTS. And last year, it has an 8-speed Tiptronic automatic transmission, a traditional torque converter automatic, and then all Cayennes come standard with the company's all-wheel drive system. Now, I don't have the final fuel economy figures just yet, but this engine in the GTS last year was rated to get 15 in the city, 20 on the highway. This is designed to run on premium. It has a 24-gallon gas tank, so it's not going to be cheap for filling up the fuel. But you guys should keep in mind the old V6 was likely going to be more fuel efficient. Now, in terms of the curb weight, or in terms of the towing, this will tow a maximum of 7,700 pounds. Porsche says you should be able to do 0 to 60 in 4.4 seconds, and it'll reach a top speed of 169 miles an hour, which those times are practically on par with the GTS. So you're now getting GTS levels of power and performance in the S version. As this vehicle sits, it should weigh in at around 5,000 pounds. But let's go ahead and close up the hood and talk about the revised exterior styling. Now, this particular one that I'm showing you is a European spec vehicle. It's an early pre-production car, so there might be a couple of things in here they may change for the US model. This car goes on sale in the summer of this year, so you're gonna have to wait a little bit longer if you guys wanna get your hand on this vehicle. Or, I'm sorry, it's available to order in the summer, and it'll be toward the end of the year if you wanna take delivery. You can see the headlights are gonna be the newest change. Now, it's a pretty small upgrade, but you can see it has kind of like the Taycan style to the headlights, where it's a little bit more squared off in the design. You have the signature 4-point full LED matrix design headlights, which are now standard equipment. My tester has, it looks like, to be a blacked out headlight. You have an updated front fascia with, you can see, LED daytime running lights and turn signals, along with the signature 4-point LEDs. The front grille has definitely been enlarged here. You can see it's got some gloss black elements, and this Montego blue is a new color this year. It's a beautiful looking color. You can see there's your radar sensor for the Porsche Innovation Drive. Then you have your full 360 camera. And then you can see here a lot of the vents are going to be functional. But let me know in the comment section a little bit what you guys think of the exterior styling changes. They are pretty small, but if you guys have the old model parked next to this, you're going to definitely notice that. Now, this vehicle was introduced back in 2017 as a 2019 model. It's built on the same MLB Evo architecture that also underpins the Bentayga, the Audi Q7, the Lamborghini Urus. And you can see this model that I'm showing you is the Coupe, which Coupe is a relative term. It means it has a slightly more swept back rear end to give it a more coupe-like styling element. The suspension has been revised this year. We now have adaptive dampers and revised twin-chamber air suspension, which my tester has the air suspension, and I believe it also has the rear wheel steering, which has also been tweaked. The brakes, you can see, are massive. They're larger this year, almost 16 inches in diameter, with a 6-piston caliper clamping down. You can see the 22-inch wheels. These are the RS Spider design wheels, which are an extra charge. You can see it's riding on a 285/40 ZR22 tire, along with a fatter 315 in the rear. This vehicle with the air suspension can vary the ground clearance from 7.5 all the way up to 9.3 inches. There's actually an off-road mode if you guys want to take it off-roading, although you probably won't do it with the big 22-inch wheels. You can see side mirrors are electrically folding. They have integrated turn signals. You have some chrome accents along the window trim, along with this standard glass roof, which has a shade. You can also close that, but this model here looks like doesn't actually open. You can see the European spec model of my tester doesn't have tinted windows back here versus a US spec car. Then you can see looking at the rear, it's got that coupe-like styling design, which definitely looks a lot more distinctive versus the squared off look, but I still think I prefer the squared off look. You can see looking at the rear, it kind of has the upgraded styling elements here that remind me a lot of the Taycan with the single light blade that goes across the rear. You can see it says Cayenne S to show you've got the S model. And then you can see that it has kind of a signature here with the 4-point, or it's technically not 4-point, but it's their full LED taillight design. It kind of tries to mimic a 4-point look. And then down here you can see quad outlet exhaust. My tester also has the sport exhaust. Let's go ahead and fire it up. You can hear what that engine sounds like real quick. And again, in a world where everybody's going down to downsizing, Porsche has decided to upsize here by giving us a V8, which is lovely. Now this area right here is a retractable power deploying spoiler. This is with it retracted. It definitely adds to a sportier look for this vehicle, along with having another spoiler up there. You can see there's no rear window wiper on this coupe model, which I believe in the sedan or in the squared off body style, you will have that. Now opening up the cargo area, the coupe body style still has a decent amount of space. I believe it's just under 30 cubic feet, which is very usable. Obviously the sloping part's gonna eat into your total maximum space. You can see there's some storage along the sides. Underneath here, no spare tire, you just have a fix-a-flat kit, at least for this European spec model. And if you fold down the seats, Porsche says you should get just under 60 cubic feet of total cargo space, which is still among the most spacious you're going to find in the segment. So the exterior styling changes are pretty minimal this year. However, let's go ahead and talk about the interior, which Porsche has made extensive upgrades to. Before we do that, I want to show you guys the key fob for the vehicle. You can see this is the typical Porsche key, where it actually looks like a car. It has your usual buttons for unlock, lock, open up the power liftgate, and then there's also a panic feature. If you guys have access to the Porsche Connect app, you should also be able to remotely access this vehicle through your smartphone as well. Now you can see the door handle is pretty traditional, whereas something like the Taycan has the retractable door handles. You can see when you touch the outside of the door handle, it locks the vehicle for you. The mirrors also electrically fold. Touch the back of the handle, that's going to unlock the door for you. Now my tester with the Montego blue exterior has the Mojave beige two-tone full leather interior with the 18-way power adjustable seats. You can see these are also heated and ventilated, and it also comes with 3-person memory on both the driver and the front passenger side. And it also has the upgraded leather, where we have leather stitching throughout the door panels and the dash. You can see soft touch leather with real stitching. You have some piano black trim along with some genuine aluminum trim. Nice sturdy feeling door handle, and then nice padded area here. The window controls one touch for all 4, which has a nice satisfying clicky feel, which I love. And then down here you can see more leather covering the lower portion area here with a nice storage compartment. My tester also has the upgraded Burmester sound system. So Porsche typically has a bass, a Bose, and a Burmester. This is typically $6,000 extra. It sounds amazing. So if you guys are an audiophile, you're gonna wanna get the Burmester sound system. Now, stepping inside the new Cayenne, you can see with the air suspension in its normal setting, it has a nice easy step in height. And then my tester has the optional soft close doors, which if you just kind of click the door, it's gonna obviously close it for you. If you wanna actually slam the door, it has a really solid sounding thunk, which is what you expect when a vehicle carries the Porsche badge. Now, as you can see, there's a lot of upgraded tech in this vehicle. In fact, you can get up to 3 screens spanning across the dash, which my tester is missing the passenger screen, which is a 10.9-inch display. That's an extra charge. Porsche also does their start-stop button over here on the left side. It used to be something that you would twist, even with intelligent key. Now, it's just a button, which again has been upgraded. When I start the vehicle up, you can hear that V8. That V8 is definitely lovely. And when you switch the drive mode over here, you can see, put it in sport, it opens up a baffle. Ooh, that's a really nice sound. So I love the fact that Porsche has decided to go back to a V8 engine, which is really, really nice in today's downsizing world. Now you can see the steering wheel in this vehicle has been lifted directly from the new 911. So that's a really good thing. This is the sports steering wheel with a heated function, which is optional. It's got leather as opposed to Alcantara. It has metal paddle shifters, which is nice. You have controls here to control the display along with your drive mode selector. This instrument panel, by the way, is the largest display in the Cayenne, the refreshed one. This is measuring 12.6 inches across. You can see this has the traditional look, whereas the previous pre-refreshed model had a dial, an actual analog tack with 2 screens on the side. So you see here, I can actually adjust the screen here to a different look. So if I start twisting this right here, you can see you can do a 2-dial look with the driver assistance. You can do a map display. You can do an all map display as well. And you can also go back to a 3-dial look with night view assist. My tester has an optional night view camera, along with the more kind of relaxed mode where you don't have too much information here, where it's not super distracting. My favorite, obviously, is this screen here. This is where it's going to show the traditional 5 individual circular dials, which just looks really nice. And then the steering wheel itself is a power, tilt, and telescoping. That's optional. It's typically part of the 18-way seats. You do have adaptive cruise control with their Porsche Innovation Drive system with lane keep assist. That is going to be optional. Then my tester also has the heads-up display, which again is optional. The horn sounds good. It sounds nondescript, but appropriate given the size of the vehicle. And then you can see here more leather stitching along the entire portion of the dash and the airbag cover over here. You have an auto dimming rear view mirror. And then over here, you can see more aluminum trim with leather. So this is typically optional. It's part of the leather upgrade package, which is typically like $5,000 extra if you want that in a Porsche. My tester also has the aluminum sport pedals. That is optional. And then looking over here, you can see there's your shift dial, which it's kind of like that same razor blade style that we find in the new 911. This allowed Porsche to free up space here in the center console, where they gave us a nice storage compartment over here, along with this new climate panel, which is a piano black plastic touch sensitive panel here, which also clicks. So you can see my tester has heated and cooled seats, which is definitely nice, along with quad zone automatic climate control, although my tester is missing the massaging seats. Now when I put the vehicle into reverse, you can see there's your full surround view camera system with all these different views and trajectory. This is optional. Again, it gives you really nice clarity, resolution. It has a camera washer as well. And I believe this model also has a automatic parallel parking feature. You can kind of scroll around the vehicle here, and you can do a complete panoramic 360 scan, which is what you expect from a lot of European cars. One of the best graphics that you'll find in the industry. And if you want to put it into drive, you push it down and then push this P button to go into park. So pretty straightforward, but I know enthusiasts aren't going to really like something like this. They prefer an actual shifter, but this is a Cayenne. This is going to be driven by a lot of families who may not really care about something like that. You can see there's the CarPlay when I have that connected. It's a 12.3 inch display here. This is standard equipment along with the 12.6 inch display here. So this is definitely nice. It's been upgraded. As you can see, it's got new colors and graphics. This is something we first saw in the revised, or in the 2023 Taycan with the new latest Porsche Connect software. You can see there's with all your widgets and whatnot. You can go to the embedded GPS, which the embedded GPS is perfectly fine. It kind of reminds you a little bit of Audi's Google Earth. It's a pretty similar system with a slightly different tune to the software. You can see there's the Sport Chrono watch, which is part of a Sport Chrono package, which my tester also has. And then you can see over here your audio sources, your car information. That's where you can adjust multiple different things about the vehicle along with your drive mode selectors. There's an ambient interior lighting package, which my tester also has. It's part of the premium package that my tester most likely has as well. You can see you can choose from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 different colors along with a dynamic mode. So I can't show you what that looks like today. I'll have to wait until I get one for a week to test to show you guys what that looks like, but you can see the screen kind of gives you a small indication of how it looks, although it's not quite as beautiful or elaborate or as fancy as what you'll find from like Mercedes or even BMW. Now over here, I mentioned earlier, you can get a 10.9 inch display, which allows you to stream videos here on the passenger side. From the driver's side, you can't see that screen because it's coated with something to prevent the driver from staring at the passenger watching a video. But when you have that option, it kind of gives you a wall of screens here in the front, which is definitely very high tech, appropriate given the status of the Cayenne and the Porsche lineup. You can see there's a wireless phone charging pad here along with 2 USB charging ports. They're USB-Cs. You have the traditional grab handles here. I don't particularly love all this piano black plastic. It shows scratches and dirt, as you can see, but it still has that clicky feel, although the entire panel moves when you start pushing that. That's going to take some getting used to, but it still has a nice feel. This is your volume control over here. which I like how Porsche gives you an actual knob. And if you want, you can close this up and show, again, more piano black plastic. Your stability control off switch is over here, along with very traditional manual dash vents, which I like, instead of, as opposed to all these power retractable vents. You can see my tester also has the smoker's package, where it has an ash or cigarette lighter, cup holders here. I like how this isn't piano black plastic. This center console, you can see that's got the Porsche crest on it. That's optional. I don't particularly like how this just kind of slides around. It doesn't have a lock feature. It just kind of keeps moving, but it is nice and padded. You can see that's a rather shallow center console, but I'm not entirely sure if this is unique to the European spec model. I'll have to wait until I get one back home to test in the US spec of the car. I love the 18-way seats. You can see these are comfortable, supportive. You can adjust each of the bolsters and the thigh extender. They really hold you in place, but they're also comfortable on longer drives, which is nice. The glove box, you can see, is damped. And it's lined with felt. It's a bin style. It offers a good amount of space as well. And then you can see above me, this glass roof doesn't open, but you can see it lets in a lot of light. I also like how there's no bar that splits the two together. You can see there are touch sensitive buttons here where you can close that if you'd like. You can also turn on and off the map lighting in here. There's a woven material for the headliner, but overall you can see the interior definitely takes a lot of inspiration from the Taycan and the 911, which is not a bad place to, borrow parts from. And it definitely feels very befitting because remember, this is technically the flagship SUV in the Porsche family. Moving to the rear seat, you can see the Cayenne is the company's largest SUV, but they don't offer a third row, but it does offer a considerably more amount of space versus the Macan, the company's smaller SUV. Now you can see the beautiful soft touch materials have carried over into the back where you have leather stitching, you have piano black, you have some aluminum trim, and then I don't have the legroom figures back here. Porsche doesn't like to share that on the media site, so if you happen to know how much legroom this vehicle has, let me know in the comment section below what it is. You can see the two-tone seats carry over back here where you have the Mojave and the black. These seats actually, they do fold down in a 60/40 configuration. You can see when that's folded down, it offers a relatively flat floor, and you can also recline it slightly. But let me get back here and show you guys the space. And you can see once I've reclined the seat, it definitely offers a nice recline as I get in and shut the door. The door has a nice solid sounding thunk. It also has the soft close feature as well. You can see without the tinted windows, it's kind of weird to be in an SUV without tinted windows. I think you can also get manual retractable shades, which my tester is missing. And then you can see in terms of the space back here, large center tunnel because this is a rear drive based vehicle. Although they're all wheel drive, you can see rear seat air vents, you have quad zone climate control, you have heated rear seats, but not cooled rear seats. I found that in some mainstream vehicles as opposed to this, a very expensive Porsche. You can see storage cubby over here. You have two USB-C charging ports. You have a nice little, looks like ashtray with a cigarette lighter down here. That's part of a smoker's package. And then my tester does have the ability to seat a person in the middle, but it's not going to be the most comfortable. You have a cup holder, an armrest that folds down here. And then as you can see, in terms of the headroom space, I'm 5'7", and there's a fairly good amount of head space, but if you're over 6 feet, it's going to probably start to eat into your overall space. But I do love how this view that this glass roof gives you. I do kind of wish that it opened up, but overall, again, if you guys need a Porsche SUV with actual space for adults, you're going to want to look at the Cayenne because the Macan has a pretty small back seat. So here we are in the completely revised 2024 Porsche Cayenne Coupe S. Now, the Cayenne got a pretty significant refresh, as you guys saw. However, the biggest change that surprised me is the fact that Porsche went back to a V8 for the S trim. Typically, you had to go to a GTS, at least when this generation first came out. The S lost its V8, but now we've got the V8, and this has more power versus the old 2023 GTS, which Porsche now claims 4.4 seconds is the 0 to 60 time. Now, this model that I'm driving is a European spec car, but we found a decent straight road here. So I have the vehicle in Sport Plus, and let's go ahead and see if we can get something close to that time. It's got launch control, so basically you just want to brake torque it, which I'll try that one more time. Ooh, jeez. Wow, okay, so we definitely matched Porsche's time, which is 4.4 seconds, 0 to 60. That is about the same time as the 2023 GTS. And remember, this is just the S trim with 468 horsepower. That is a lot of power for a vehicle like this, and that is very impressive performance considering there are going to be faster variants coming at some point. That's what Porsche is always really good at, but this is still paired up with that 8-speed auto. Put my foot down here. That sound is just amazing. This Tiptronic transmission is so smooth, so quick, so snappy, so responsive. It also has paddles, so you can take control of the gears if you'd like, and then listen to that V8. I mean, in the world where everyone is downsizing, the fact that Porsche decided to dump the V6 and give us a detuned version, essentially, of the engine that's in the Porsche Cayenne Turbo GT Coupe, which I drove last year, which was also really good. The brakes also are really strong on this car. I am driving through Newport Beach, and I'm trying my best not to get distracted by the beautiful coastline and how gorgeous it is out here. But remember, the S model has these massive, nearly 16-inch size front rotors on 6-piston calipers. So not the biggest brakes you're gonna find, but still mighty impressive. But really what shocks me about this car is the updates that Porsche has made to the suspension as well. My tester is riding on 22-inch wheels on fat 315 wide tires, and I have the suspension in its harshest setting now, Sport Plus, and it is shocking to me how well this thing rides. It just glides over any imperfection in the road, even in this very stiff setting right now. The adaptive dampers with the 2-stage air chambers and whatnot, the 2-stage dampers as well, it just soaks up the bumps. And this vehicle still has that luxury car feel that you associate with a Cayenne. That's the beauty about this car, is when you're just driving it around normally. Well, I'll switch the drive mode here just to normal. You'll hear the exhaust gets nice and quiet because it closes that valve. The suspension gets even softer. The steering gets lighter, yet it's still very quick and direct. And this car drives like a luxury car with all the upgraded tech as well, the impeccable build quality. I mean, I'm driving a car that's an early European built pre-production vehicle, and it rides and feels extremely solid, which is what I expect and demand from a vehicle that wears the Porsche badge. And I'll have to wait until I can retest a US spec car to do all the electronic stuff with the driver assistance and to live with it for a while, because I only have this car for about 5 hours today, which isn't that much time when you have to do filming and you have to look for an actual filming spot. I've never actually driven through this portion here in Newport Beach, California, and I have to say it is quite a change versus the downtown area of Los Angeles, that's for sure. But overall, the seats are also extremely comfortable. This model that I'm driving has, I believe, the 18-way full leather seats. These are kind of the Mojave beige seats, which is kind of a wonderful color combination with the Montego blue exterior. The new infotainment system, you can see I've got that new 12.6-inch display, which is customizable, going along with this 12.3-inch display here with the Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. You can see my phone is connected. The wireless, for some reason, I couldn't get it to work. But again, it's an early European spec pre-production car, so I'll have to wait until until I get one back home to test for a full week. But just driving this vehicle normally, I mean, this is the kind of driving that most Cayenne owners are probably going to be in, is this type of environment where you're stuck in rush hour traffic. You're going through a lot of traffic lights as well, going through a city or a town like this. And it's quiet in here. It's quiet, it's smooth, it's refined. I don't have final fuel economy figures yet. However, when I'm passing by a gas station there that says $5.40 a gallon for premium, this is definitely a car that is not going to be the most fuel efficient, which is surprising because the old V6, the 2.9-liter twin-turbo V6, which I love that engine, made about 34 less horsepower than this model, but it got a decent like 22 mpg, at least for something that weighs close to, or like 5,000 pounds. This V8, I'm suspecting, will probably be less. How much less, we don't know until Porsche releases the final EPA figures, which as of this filming, it's still kind of pending. But overall, driving it in this kind of environment, I really appreciate, you know, the dual personality that the Cayenne gives you. It can be a solid, you know, comfortable, smooth, refined luxury car when you're stuck in this kind of bumper-to-bumper traffic. And then when you find your favorite back road, the weight of this vehicle kind of shrinks. You can push the, you know, or put it into your Sport Plus setting, and it feels like a Porsche sports car, just a taller version. And that's kind of what the Cayenne is. It's one of the first sports SUV, so it doesn't surprise me that even the lower line S version kind of has that fire that you expect from the even higher performance versions of the Cayenne. So after spending the day driving this revised 2024 Porsche Cayenne, I have to say, obviously the changes that Porsche has made here are pretty small. However, they are very effective. The exterior styling, I think the Cayenne already looks like a really nice vehicle when this first came out. The changes they made this year, I don't know if they make the Cayenne look better, but I definitely like this exterior color. I like the coupe body style as well. This is one of the few coupe style SUVs that I actually find to be attractively designed. Really, the biggest upgrade is the interior with that wall of screens, although my test predecessor is missing the passenger display, but the new fully digital instrument cluster, the larger 12.3-inch center display with wireless CarPlay and Android Auto is certainly a big upgrade. Even though this model is a pre-production car, it feels really solidly built. And that's kind of the reputation that you get when you get a Porsche vehicle, is it just feels really solidly made. It feels like a tank. Yet also, even though this vehicle is big and heavy, it still handles like a sports SUV should, with really sharp steering. The suspension upgrades that Porsche has made has really made this car a true daily driver, where you can literally drive it in stop and go traffic on crappy road surfaces with big wheels, and it still has a great ride quality. And then you put it into Sport Plus, and this thing can really attack your favorite back roads with the best sports SUVs you're going to find in the industry. I especially like this new S model, 0 to 60 in 4.4 seconds. Right on with Porsche's numbers is an impressive feat, considering the fact that there's still going to be a GTS, a Turbo, and a Turbo S, and an E-Hybrid coming. The Turbo GT is still going to be the fastest one that you can get. I haven't had a chance to test the refreshed model, but when I first drove that vehicle last year, the pre-refreshed model, I was simply blown away. It'll easily do 0 to 60 in 3 seconds, which is just crazy fast for somebody, especially for those of you who don't really need that kind of performance. But overall, if you guys are looking to get your hands on the 2024 Cayenne, this vehicle is available to order at your Porsche dealership this summer, with delivery starting toward the end of the year. And they basically said, in terms of pricing, the 2024 model will start at just under $80,000. The Coupe body style is about $5,000 to $7,000 more. The S version is going to start at around $95,000 for the squared off Cayenne. For the Coupe, it'll start around $102,000. So again, that's about a $7,000 upcharge versus the pre-refresh model. So obviously this car got more expensive, and as you guys know with Porsche, they like to charge extra for everything. In fact, I don't have final pricing yet for this model here. It's a very early spec European model. However, with the exterior color, the 22-inch wheels, the upgraded leather, the upgraded Burmester audio system, and so many other options that this model has, including the soft closed doors, the night vision camera, etc., the heated and cooled seats, I estimate this model here is probably around $150,000. That's kind of how Porsche rolls. You can easily add an extra luxury car's worth of options on a vehicle like this, which again, it is bloody expensive, but that's kind of the way Porsche has always been, and there's still a lot of people that are willing to pay that, because last year the company sold around 21,000 Cayennes in America. Remember, this is basically a six-figure car, and Porsche sold over 20,000 units in the US. Really shows just how popular the Cayenne is, and I have no doubt with the upgrades that Porsche has made for 2024, this will continue to be one of the company's top-selling versions until we see a fully redesigned model, which I suspect Porsche is working on, and I suspect they're also working on making it fully electric in the future. But with all that said, hope you guys have enjoyed my full overview on the fully revised 2024 Porsche Cayenne S in the coupe body style. If you're also looking to see the latest cars I'm testing, be sure to follow me on Instagram at redline_reviews, like us on Facebook, and as always guys, please keep subscribing to the Redline Reviews YouTube channel for all the latest reviews. Thank you so much for watching. I'll catch you all in the next video.